Hello and welcome to the morning update from Nirmal Bang. In fact, if you see in terms of global markets, US markets witnessed a marginal change in terms of Friday. Dow ended with cuts of almost around 1/10%, whereas if you see in terms of S&P 500, it eked out almost a record closing high. Nasdaq as well hit an all-time closing high, so that was a market to watch out for. In fact, for the week as well, we have US markets that have ended in the positive. Clearly, if you go to see Europe markets close mixed, so that was something that we have to take cues from as well. And you have Asian markets which are trading mainly mixed. It's mainly Japanese markets which are trading with cuts, and this is mainly because Japan's GDP has declined much worse than what was expected. In terms of an update on crude, now the 5-week losing streak is something that oil has snapped. In fact, Brent was up almost around 1.6% as well as WTI around 1.2% in overnight trade. However, morning cues look slightly muted in terms of where crude is concerned, where it's marginally lower in Asian hours. So watch out for the OMC space in today's session as well pretty closely. Another important factor on the macro front that we need to watch out for the Indian markets is the Indian Forex Reserve update. In fact, they've continued to move from one record high to the next almost, and they've soared to record almost around $473 billion. So that's a strong number that we're watching out for on the Forex Reserve front. And clearly, the reserves have now risen steadily from 2013 onwards, so that's a positive. And at the end of 2013, India ranked 11th in the Forex Reserve League tables, and as of Jan end, if you see the pool, it's the 7th highest globally. However, the top two holders still continue to remain China as well as Japan. We are still far away from reaching the top two as well. In terms of the FI DI activity, 2 consecutive sessions of buying coming in from the FIs. However, DI is bought worth almost 220 odd crores in terms of Friday's session. If you see in terms of SGX Nifty, no major direction that we are picking up, but right now as we speak, we are seeing some marginal cuts that are coming in with regards to SGX Nifty. So there could be some bit of a mild pressure in terms of opening session, but overall the trend continues to remain positive in terms of Nifty. Because if you see the support, that's placed at levels of around 12,000, whereas resistance is seen at levels of almost around 12,200 to 12,250 in terms of Nifty 50. Clearly beyond that, if you see in terms of the put call ratio as well, that has been at almost around 1.27 versus 1.48. So that's a number we need to watch out for. And if you see in terms of the weekly expiry numbers as well, maximum OI on the call side is at 12,200, whereas on the put side is at levels of around 12,000. Y addition has been seen at 12,200 call as well as 12,300 call. So these are the numbers we should be watching out for, and this is the broad range in terms of Nifty 50. Overall, on the Bank Nifty side as well, clearly the futures closed at levels of around 30,900, and the premiums have been at 67.3 versus a 1, and the OI on in terms of Bank Nifty was down almost around 1%. The levels that we will be watching out for in terms of Bank Nifty support is at 30,650, whereas if you see in terms of resistance, that's seen at levels of almost around 31,200 to 31,500. So that's the broad range we will be gauging, because financials have been one of the major reasons why we've seen a downtick in the last 2 trading sessions in terms of the domestic markets. Clearly, in terms of stocks on the F&O front, you have Yes Bank that continues to remain in the in the F&O ban period, whereas fresh longs have been seen in terms of a Bharti Airtel Go, so watch out for that one. Shorts have been seen on Bharti Infratel, Gale, Hero Moto as well as SBI, whereas short covering has been seen on counters like Mindtree, UPL as well as Lupin. So these are the counters that could be in focus in today's session. Very quickly, in terms of where newsmakers are concerned, now few counters that continue to remain in focus. Number one is with regards to where the telecom space. Now overall, if you see in terms of where the telecom space is concerned, we did see major gyrations in terms of Friday's session. Now today, Airtel, Vodafone, Tata Tele probably would be paying their AGR dues, so watch out for these counters. Gujarat Borosil will be trading X date for amalgamation. You have Prabhat Dairy, where the board has approved merger of their wholly armed Cheeseland Agro. Dilip Buildcon has received an LOA from Airport Authority of India for an EPC project in Gujarat, so some positive momentum expected on this infra counter. Avenue Supermart and OFS update from the non-retail investors. It's got a 3.4 times demand on day one, so that's something which seems to be pretty strong. RITES has also emerged as the successful bidder for supply of locomotive and coaches to the Indian Railways. So again, on the back of an order win will be in focus. You have MT Educare, Dr. Reddy's as well as Hero Moto. Those are in focus. Hero Moto, in fact, on the back of the coronavirus, they are saying that it could impact the planned production capacity by almost around 10%. So that could be having some bit of a negative impact on Hero Moto as well. So these are few of the stocks we will be focusing on. And lastly, on the back of an earnings reaction, clearly, if you go to see Fortis Healthcare, a good set of numbers that have been reported. So that's going to be a stock we will be focusing on the positive front. Sun TV as well has reported a good set of numbers. So again, a positive reaction expected on that counter. On the back, on the stable side, you have HPL Electric, Morpan Laboratories. Both these counters have posted a stable set of numbers. Asian Hotels, a stable set of numbers as well. And some bit of negative reaction that could be expected on CI Industries, ONGC, La Opala, Glenmark Pharma, SP Apparel, SAIL, Reliance Power, Simplex Infra, Edelweiss Financial, Finolex Cables, Jain Irrigation as well as Lakshmi Vilas Bank. So these are the counters that will be reacting to earnings in today's day of trade. But overall, if you go to see, the trend is seeming to be positive. Clearly, there could be a mild negative opening, but during the day, you could see some bit of covering that could be coming in on that end and a lot of stock specific action that will be in focus. Thanks for watching and subscribe to the Nirmal Bank channel for more updates.